gran conferencia, sobre todo si están interesados en desarrollar proyectos e ideas y si les interesa trabajar para Disney TV Animation. Nos acompañan en esta conferencia ejecutivos que han trabajado durante muchísimos años en la industria y trabajan tanto para Disney Junior como para Disney TV Animation. Y nos van a contar un poco de lo que están buscando y del proceso de desarrollo. Acompáñenos con Yoli Cortés, Kitty Walsh y Alfredo Maroon. Esta conferencia va a ser en inglés, así es que welcome Alfredo, Kitty and Yoli, and this is Pixelato 2020.
Hi everyone, thank you all for joining us today. It's a real shame we all can't be down in Mexico in person drinking some good mezcal with all of you, but we are still very excited to be presenting Developing with Disney Television Animation, where we will break down what types of project we look for here at Disney Junior and Disney Television Animation, and also give you some pitching tips and tricks. But first, a little bit about us.
Hi everyone, my name is Kitty Walsh. I'm the Manager of Development for Disney Junior, and I've been with the team for 5 years now. Before Disney Junior, I was actually working in prison documentaries, not very kid-friendly, and virtual reality, but I'm so excited to be here today to talk to you about kids entertainment, and hopefully you'll find this helpful.
Hi everybody, I'm Yoli Cortez Romano, and I am the original series development coordinator for Disney Junior. My background is in development and writing, and I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary with the Disney Junior team, so that was exciting. And I am super excited to be participating in my very first Pixelato panel, but I can't wait till we can actually do this all in person. So.
Hi everybody, my name is Alfredo Maroon. I'm the Director of Development at Disney TV Animation, so I primarily focus in kids 6 to 11. I'm born and raised in Colombia, so shout out to any Colombians watching this right now. Before joining Disney, I was at DreamWorks for 5 years working in their TV animation division, and like Yoli, I'm also celebrating my 1 year at Disney, and yeah, super happy to be here. Yeah, if you got a glass of tequila or mezcal, start drinking. All right, let's begin. So we like to kick things off with our mission statement here at Disney Television Animation, which is we are a creative community of visual storytellers who celebrate and embrace the magic of Disney. And for 35 years, we've been doing just that. From the very first series, The Gummy Bears, which started it all, to our most recently premiered show, Mira, the Royal Detective, Disney TV Animation has created some of the most revered series and characters that have truly stood the test of time. And we got plenty more coming, so don't worry. I'm sure all of you can take a quick look and see some of your favorite shows on here. I just want to give a shout out to Tailspin. That was the one that did it for me. Best theme song ever, in my opinion. All right. So before we get into it, we like to talk about this because we feel like this is super important. Know your audience. First and foremost, it is very important to know who your audience is. It's something we can't emphasize enough. It is very important to understand what kids are going through these days and what types of stories are resonating with this new generation. So it's no secret. Oh, sorry about that. So it's no secret that our world is changing every day, and kids today are being shaped by these cultural shifts and the realities around them. With greater access to media and technology, kids are becoming less shielded. Access, opportunity, and empowerment defines this generation. They are taking matters into their own hands and are looking towards a future filled with limitless possibilities. These are the realities we take into consideration when, as we look for stories with authentic and relatable points of views. Comedy transcends. We found that if we want to attract the attention of both boys and girls, young and old, we need great comedy. Kids of all ages and genders are looking for shows that make them laugh. When writing comedy for 2 to 11-year-olds, we like to use multi-layered jokes. By doing this, we ensure that our comedy is funny for both the kids and the parents watching with them. And lastly, despite all of the differences, from, past generations, different cultures, backgrounds, where you grew up, there are certain universal truths and universal stories that always resonate despite who the audience is. Like stories about friendship, family, growing up, fish out of water stories, follow your dream stories, and with great power comes great responsibility, and many, many more.
All right, now let's break down our target demos for each channel. So Disney Junior, where Yoli and I work, we focus on 2 to 7-year-olds and their families, but our core is that 2 to 5-year-old. So we're no longer developing shows for bridge audiences like the Elena of Avalor's, Lion Guards, that really hit that 4 to 6 range. We're really focusing on 2 to 5-year-olds. And then Disney Channel, where Alfredo is, 6 to 11-year-olds. All right, let's start with Disney Junior. So Disney Junior, where the magic begins. Disney Junior is often the first connection a child has with the Disney brand, so that's quite a responsibility for us. Our collective mantra is this Walt Disney quote: "We keep moving forward, opening new doors, and doing new things, because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths." So this is the spirit in which we develop. We have pillars to help us guide our creative vision for Disney Junior, and we will talk about if the series lends itself to these pillars, which we will break down right now. So aspirational characters that reflect our diverse world. Doctors, detectives, pirates, princesses. More than anything, Disney Junior is known for aspirational and fun characters that connect with our young kids. Have you heard the phrase, "If you can see it, you can be it"? Well, we want to give kids opportunities to see characters and roles that they perhaps hadn't seen before, and empower them to take up their own scepter or stethoscope and save the day and potentially save the world. As you create your own protagonist, think about the questions: what does your character do? But more importantly, is that role understandable to a 4-year-old? Doc McStuffins is a caring and smart kid doctor who puts on her magic stethoscope to fix broken toys. Could you describe your hero in a simpler, similar way? Elements of magic or fantasy. So Disney Junior focuses on magical storytelling that transports young kids to another world and that they truly want to be a part of. We aim to fulfill their wishes to rule a kingdom like Elena of Avalor, be in a monster hit rock band with Vampirina, or go on a mission to help pets in need like Bingo and Rolly. Now, not every story needs literal whiz-bang-boom magic. Some of our shows focus on smaller, more grounded magical elements. Fancy Nancy and Muppet Babies, for instance, utilize imagination as the source of magic in their worlds. And Puppy Dog Pals Bingo and Rolly are able to travel to Antarctica for ice cubes for their owner, all within a day, flying first class, no one questions it, it's magic.
The next pillar is signature music that defines the world. Music is a crucial part of the Disney DNA. I mean, can you imagine Frozen without Let It Go? I don't think so. We look at music and songs as a necessity to push our story forward in every series and to be an extension of that particular series' world. For Mira Royal Detective, our new Disney Junior series that is set in a magical Indian-inspired land called Jaipur, Mira and her friends break out into big Indian dance numbers set to a variety of new original songs. For Kid Vampire Vampirina, she doesn't just play songs on her ukulele, she rocks out on her spookalele with Transylvanian pop sensation The Scream Girls. These songs will live with our young viewers in the show, in the car ride to school, at birthday parties, and in bedtime routines. I mean, you name it. Next pillar is rich storytelling with heart. It goes without saying that we want to tell stories that make you feel something. For our young kid viewers, Disney Junior stories connect with and reflect their first milestones in life, like making a friend, or trying and trying again to learn something, or tying their shoe for the first time, etc. But while still speaking to universal values both kids and adults, young and old, hold close. Treat others with kindness, be an advocate for what's right, and love without prejudice. Our storytelling has fun and comedy, but at the core of every show we do, there is a clear emotional purpose.
And our last pillar is social and emotional learning. So when I say I work in development for preschoolers, most people think that I'm teaching kids their 1, 2, 3s and ABCs. But as a brand, Disney Junior is first and foremost focused on social and emotional learning. So presenting relationships and scenarios that relate to our young audience. These are the stories that inspire kids to grow by understanding, managing their emotions, showing empathy for others, and approaching challenges with heroism and resilience. And that's it for the Disney Junior pillars. So here's Alfredo for Disney Channel.
All right, let's talk about Disney Channel. So as we mentioned earlier, our audience here is 6 to 11, but definitely looking at the older end of our demo with gender-neutral shows that both girls and boys will enjoy. We also primarily are focusing on 11-minute comedies that are either episodic or lightly serialized. And like Disney Junior, we also created our own set of pillars. These pillars are a collaboration of several TV animation creative executives and talent. We found that this is the best way for us to connect with our audience and what makes a Disney TV animation show stand out. So let's break these down. First up is comedy with heart. Great comedy transcends boundaries, and humor is integral to all of our shows. If it ain't funny, it's not going to work for kids, and that just doesn't work for us. Our brand of comedy is born from well-defined characters, and our humor comes from our character, from our characters. It's very character-driven. We also want very sophisticated comedy. So what that means is if you're planning to do a fart joke, it better be the most sophisticated fart joke you have ever written in your life. And to speak a little bit about the heart of Disney humor, what that means is that Disney humor is never mean-spirited. It is never, or sarcastic. Our audience is never going to laugh at our characters. They're going to laugh with them unless they want us to, which happens from time to time. Stories that matter. So our viewers want to experience fun, meaningful, and engaging content. We want to tell stories that make our audience feel seen and heard, but will also help them see things from new points of view. In our experience, we find that when we tell stories that matter to us, they will matter to our viewers. So, authentic points of view through inclusive storytelling. This is what truly makes a show unique. We want our audience to see themselves in our shows, so we are always looking for original content that comes from an authentic place. We know the immense impact it has on kids when they see a character that looks like them or shares a similar experience. And just to talk a little bit about the inclusivity part, that just isn't just about skin color. Inclusive storytelling can be about unique family dynamics, neurodiversity, socioeconomic diversity, different able-bodied persons, gender identity, and expressions. So, relatable and surprising characters and worlds. So we have sort of like a formula and a breakdown for this. It's basically a relatable character in an extraordinary world or an extraordinary character in a relatable world. One has to be relatable, one has to be grounded. Our research finds that kids love familiarity, but they also crave novelty. This means when considering projects, we're looking for what grounded and relatable points of view our characters bring into the new and exciting worlds they enter to. Think about like Anne in Amphibia. Also on the flip side, when we're looking, at how our extraordinary character changes the world around them and brings excitement and new learnings into everyone's lives, think of Cricket from Big City Greens. And lastly, fantastical wish fulfillment. When you think of fantastical wish fulfillment in terms of Disney, I'm sure your mind automatically goes to magic, superpowers, superheroes, all that fun stuff. But fantastical wish fulfillment is more than that for us. It can come from a loyal group of friends you'd love to hang out with, like the crew from one of our old series, Recess, or the adventurous and loving family you've always wanted, like in our series, DuckTales. It could even be finding a place where you finally fit in, like Luce in Owl House. The point of it is that we want our audience, when they're seeing a show, for them to point at that group, at that family, at that sort of experience and be like, I want that too. And those are the pillars for 6 to 11. Moving on.
So what are we looking for? Well, now you know our pillars, but it's important that you don't try to retrofit your story into them. Your project should naturally fit our brand. With that in mind, let's discuss what we look for in a pitch.
Okay, what we look for in a pitch. So first and foremost, what's your creative vision? Within your creative vision should sit what your show is about. And it's not just what happens in the show, it's really what is the purpose of the show? What are you trying to say? So for an example, Amphibia isn't just about a girl being transported to a frog realm. It's about a girl evolving into a better person. So theme kind of goes into what your show is about. It's the deeper meaning of your show. What are the bigger concepts you're trying to convey that supports what you want that show to say, and what will the audience learn? Visual development. So just wanted to say you don't have to be an artist to pitch to us. I know we're in animation, but it's really about if you are a writer, if art is not your strength. If you have an idea about the style and visual tone of your show, that's super helpful. We don't create things just to look cool. There's always a reason to our designs, and it's influenced by the world of the show and the story, and that comes from you, right? So you should be able to explain the why behind your style thoughts if you do have them. And then with core characters, you should know who they are and the nature of their relationships to one another. And we'll dive into character in another slide. Original stories, again, mean your stories. We're not taking pitches for heritage properties. Heritage is our word for pitches that involve characters from the Disney archives of, like, the Hercules, the show. We're not interested, and we can't take those pitches for our own characters. And most of all, we want to know what's your story, right? So we want stories unique to you and your personal experience, and think back to those pillars we just discussed and how it could potentially fit with those.
All right, you've got the creative vision, check. What about the pitch Bible? What is a pitch Bible? A pitch Bible is a 3 to 5 page document that tells us everything we need to know about your show. And it should include the following: a log line or brief premise line. Log lines are incredibly important when it comes to pitching. Have you ever heard the term elevator pitch? It's the refinement of your idea down to a short and snappy sales line. If you had only 30 seconds to sell your show, what would you say? A successful logline should explain what the show is about in 1 to 2 sentences. Regarding episode premises, you should include a section of sample episodes, and each one should demonstrate the core concept of your show and feature your main character. But we also want to see variety in the kinds of stories you can tell, and know that it's not just a problem of the week show. Is there an emotional range to the episode ideas? An exciting pilot story is great, but we, as development execs, are thinking, what does episode 5 or 25 look like? This is the best way to get an idea of the strength of your concept. And who are your main characters? Include descriptions of them and their relationships to one another, both literal relationships like brother-sister, best friends, neighbors, but also their personal relationships. They're friends because, or they hate each other because, and it never hurts to make a chart. As for visuals, we don't need to see a fully visually developed project. Play to your strengths and include what you feel helps sell your idea. If you can't draw, include a mood board with pictures or art that inspires you. We know that things will change as your project moves through development.
Okay, so now that we've talked specifically about what we look for in a pitch Bible, let's talk more conceptually about what we look for in a project. The 2 most important things for us at Disney are character and story. So take it away, Alfredo.
All right, let's kick it off with character. So as executives, when we're reviewing pitches and even giving notes on our current development projects, we always ask ourselves these questions. How do your characters resonate with our audience? Think back to our inclusive story pillar. Is this a character you would hope to have seen as a kid? What are your characters' wants and needs? That's super important. And how do those conflict, right? That's the friction. That friction is how all great stories start. How will the characters grow throughout the series? What will they learn? We have a really fun test like a personality test that we like to give our characters, which is called the lemon test. So the lemon test was something that Alex Hirsch used in Gravity Falls when exploring his main characters, Dipper, Mabel, and Grunkle Stan. And so he thought, what would each of these characters do if you gave them a lemon? So for instance, Dipper would probably take the lemon, squeeze the juice out, and make it into an invisible ink to write secret messages. Mabel would knit the lemons cute little sweaters in case they got cold. And Grunkle Stan would most likely take the lemons, dip them in orange paint, and sell them as mutant oranges for twice the price. So that just gives you a sense of the type of the personality and you know, a little test for your characters. Next, the story.
And moving on to story. So here are important questions we'll often ask in pitches, but you should be asking them for your own stories. What do you have to say, and why is it relevant to our audience? Is it funny? Does it have heart? This relates back to our comedy with heart pillar that Alfredo uses for the 6 to 11. And we want the show to make us laugh, but we also want it to have an emotional impact, right? Is your show episodic with standalone episodes that we don't need to follow, or serialized with longer overarching arc? How long are the episodes? These last two questions are a little more technical, but it affects how we look at your series and as a whole, and how you write your episodes.
All right, moving on to pitching tips. All right, slide. So first, we gotta put this in. So it is a Walt Disney Studios company policy that we do not accept unsolicited pitches. Now, what that means is that please do not send us your ideas and materials without us asking you to send them. That's like a surefire way to just completely get your idea never looked at and sent to BA, and yeah, it's filed away. And so if you're looking to pitch, we encourage you to reach out through your representatives. If you do not have a representative, like an agent, a manager, or a lawyer, we prefer you reach out to us and set up a general meeting. You know, this is just to get to know each other, to feel each other out. We want to get to know you as a person and a creative before we jump into the pitching process with you. Also, maybe you may not be ready to pitch just yet, but making this connection is the first step. All right, what do we look for in talent? Now let's talk about what we look for in your, we've talked about what we look for in your pitch. Now we're talking about what we look for in you. So here are just a few things that we look for in the talent we collaborate with. So first is level of professional experience. While we do believe great ideas can come from anywhere and anybody, it's not just about having a great idea. We need to know you can navigate the development process and manage others. Many of you watching may just be starting out in the industry, so we understand you may not have had the opportunities to garner this experience just yet. But we also want you to understand that when you are pitching a show to us, we expect that you will be able to run that show. So what is your level of experience? You may be an amazing storyboard artist or a staff writer, but have you ever led a team? Can you work with higher leadership, like creative executives like us? Do you know what it takes to make a show? If not, work on gathering that experience, connect with other people, reach out to folks, try to see if you can get on any sort of production, any sort of crew, team, studio. And don't worry, we'll still be here and ready to hear your pitches once you've, gained that experience. Next is your ability to convey your distinct point of view. This means your creative vision. Are you able to communicate your vision both in your work, but also to those working with you? Again, are you able to convey your messaging to us, to your creative executives, and also to the team that you're going to be leading? Next is be a team player and be a good person. This it shouldn't even be said, but we're going to say it because, you work hard and develop your leadership skills through your experiences, but we also want you to be a good person. We're going to be working with you for quite a long time. Development takes a minute, and so does, when you actually start your show in production. So we just want to work with nice people that are just passionate about their project, their idea, and want to collaborate with people. Another one is know your strengths and weaknesses. You don't have to be an expert at everything, but you do need to know where you do need support. Don't be afraid to admit you don't know something. So if you're an artist and writing is not your thing, that's totally cool. If you're a writer and art is not your thing, that's totally fine too. Just be honest about it. And also self-starters. We don't develop for you. Like we've said, it's your creative vision that will move the show forward. So, just letting you know, we'll guide you, but really it's you driving the whole process. And lastly, the ability to pivot in development. Change is the only constant thing in the development process, and creating a show is no easy task. You more than likely will be asked to adjust and sometimes change aspects of your show while in development based on various external and internal factors. As executives, we're here to help you navigate this crazy journey and make sure your show is the best that it can be.
All right, pitching tips. So this is more for our talent who have not been pitching a lot, and we hope this is helpful for you of a typical pitch meeting with us at Disney. So 30-minute meetings. This is normally how it breaks down. First 5 minutes, we want to get to know you. There may be technical difficulties. Zoom may be freezing all over the place. But then hopefully after that 5 minutes, we get into your pitch. So you have 15 minutes to tell us your show idea, who your characters are, the world, potentially a springboard or an episode idea that you have so that we could see the 100 potential episodes that we had spoken about earlier. And then the last 5 minutes will be questions. So be sure to have answers to the questions that we had mentioned earlier, especially with regard to the pillars that we mentioned. Where does the comedy come from? Where's the heart? And we also may ask you questions that you don't know the answer to, and that's okay too. And then the last 5 minutes will be the wrap up and goodbyes.
A few more tips. Please do your homework. Know what we have on air and whether your show would fit. Know our brand, which, if we're doing our jobs right today, you should know by the end of this presentation. But also know if your show idea exists on other channels. We are not taking pitches about a sponge who's best friends with a sea star. And lead with your personal story. This is really, really important for us. Why are you the one to tell this story? What does it mean to you? How do you personally connect with these characters? How has your own life inspired this show? This all speaks to our authentic POV pillar. Make sure we understand that you have a distinct point of view for this project. Creators Chris and Shane Houghton grew up on a farm in Michigan before moving to the big cities for college, which inspired their show, Big City Greens. Creator Alex Hirsch has a twin sister and a pathological lying grandpa, and much of his show, Gravity Falls' inspiration, came from his own childhood summer vacations. And believe it or not, Amphibia's Matt Brawley was actually transported into a magical frogland. And please, please don't come unprepared. Practice your pitch. I mean, we are all human, we all make mistakes, but don't get into the weeds and just make sure to hit your most vital points. And please don't come in with your consumer products plan. For us, that is putting the cart before the horse. If your concept, the world, and the characters work, we'll have time to figure out the books, the toys, and the rides. We're much more interested in the story. And we do like having physical materials to review and remind us what we liked about your pitch. So also please have a PDF version that you may send to us after it's over. And know that we get a lot of pitches, so don't be afraid to follow up, but also know that it may take us some time to sort through everything. In this case, patience is definitely a virtue. And that speaks to the last bullet point. Make sure you keep at it. You're going to hear no a lot. Just to give you some perspective, on average, we're interested in about 1 out of every 100 pitches. And even if the pitch doesn't work out the first time, take what you've learned from the experience and work on your next great idea. Everything is experience. Now we just want to end our presentation. We want to leave you with this quote by Walt Disney himself. First, think. Second, dream. Third, believe. And finally, dare.
Thank you again, everyone, and we hope this was informative, and we really look forward to meeting you during the virtual festival. Again, we wish we could be there in person, drinking mezcal with you, but either way, you know, we hope that you take this information, and we're excited to see the stories you come up with. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Alfredo, Yoli, and Kitty, for this amazing information that you're sharing with the people attending el Festival Pixelatl. Muchísimas gracias a todos ustedes por haber participado de esta conferencia. Esperemos que les haya sido de utilidad. Recuerden que pueden también estar disfrutando de las proyecciones de cortometrajes y muestras que se encuentran en la sección de proyecciones y pantallas. Y también los esperamos en nuestra siguiente actividad, que es Chelas con Brooke Kessling. Ella es la reclutadora de Bento Box Entertainment. Nos va a dar algunos consejos para preparar portafolios en esta semana que hay mucho reclutamiento. Nos vemos.